Margo show. Today we have this one is artist and another one is fashion designer. Frank Gavere and his beautiful wife, Barbara Gavere.
Thank you.
Frank is artist and Barbara is fashion designer. And now they're going to tell you about, Frank is going to tell you about his beautiful paintings that he's doing. I think they're going to tell themselves about what they're doing. Okay, Frank.
Sure. I'm painting, and I have a studio at Mana Contemporary, which is a facility in New Jersey for artist studios. And we just had an open house yesterday. We had, I think, I was told 5,000 people in the building. We saw quite a few people came by during the day to see our individual studios and see what we're working on.
Very interesting. So, a lot of people came to your studio.
Yeah, yes. Mm-hmm.
They were interested in your stuff. But your stuff is fantastic. We're
Yes.
going to see your stuff soon.
Sure.
Okay. I was very curious about your story, how you became an artist. You told me about your very interesting story.
Well, it's a funny story. You know, I was young. I was maybe 6 or 7, and my father took me to the Twin Cities where we lived in the Midwest, and so it was the big town. We lived in a small town, and we went to a gallery show with an artist. And of course, the artist's girlfriend was there, and she was tall, beautiful, and I was a little boy, so I asked questions, and she would talk to me. I was having a really good time, and I said, I can paint pictures. Can I end up with pretty girl? I can do this.
So
And
what's happened?
And that pretty much sold me on the idea of being an artist.
What happened for the end, at the end?
No, it was the end. I mean, I was only there for a day,
So-
part of a day. And,
Is that how you became an artist?
well, I thought about it. I said, there are worse things to do.
Okay, Frank, tell us about your art. Tell us about your art. What exactly?
Well, I'm a painter, and I'm currently using an industrial air gun to produce my paintings. And my paintings are generally, when I start to work on the painting, I have to have a very good idea of how the painting's, something about how the painting's going to go, because I use stencils to paint the picture.
Very nice.
And a stencil is a very simple thing. It's anything that you put in between the air gun and where you're painting. So your hand could be a stencil. A tool could be a stencil. Anything could be a stencil.
Maybe you can tell a little bit more about stencil, because people probably don't know what it is.
Stencil
because
could
it's
be,
like
yeah.
a pretty new technique. It's pretty new.
Well-
it's not very.
It's a fun
It's a fun
technique
technique.
for fine artists today. Airbrush was invented about 1800, actually, and used in illustration, primarily for advertisements. Artists started using them kind of the 60s and 70s, and it was mostly the photorealists. I'm not one of them. But they could paint very, very finely detailed. And because it's a spray, the paint is atomized. When you tune up to paint, you make it so it's a very light color comes out. And then if you want it dark, you go over it a number of times. This gives you a building quality so that you can build your tonality in the picture.
Yeah, very, very nice. Yeah. So
Great
you,
control.
So you use this a lot.
Yeah, it's my primary painting tool. Of course, when I have to fix something, I use a brush or sometimes my finger, whatever, Yeah.
Barbara,
Yes.
tell a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm a fashion designer. I'm also an educator, but they came further along. When I first started out, I lived in the village, and I decided that I really loved being more or less my own boss. So I had a friend from FIT, where I graduated from, and we took a village apartment studio, and we started to go around, and we always made sure that we wore our own designs. So we hit all the high-end boutiques, and one of our biggest ones was Abracadabra in New York City and the Upper East Side. And when we walked in, she fell in love with the designs, and we designed for her store for quite a number of years. And that was my start, and I always kept that feeling that I didn't really want to work in the mass production industry, but I really wanted to do custom or one-of-a-kind limited editions, and I really stuck to that. And then I had an opportunity to start a fashion design program in the state of New Jersey, and that's how I wound up coming from Manhattan into New Jersey. But I continued to do my custom and my couture design, and as you can see, and we'll talk about that eventually, we have collaborated.
This is one of your design, right?
I have a master artist at my beck and call, so I mean.
I love it. This jacket is unbelievable.
Yes.
Yeah, very nice design.
This is one of the.
That's already in production?
This is one of a kind. This is what we call custom design. So if a client comes to me, whatever I design for them is not repeated. It is just for them. So this particular pattern, his original artwork, may I stand up so you can see? This particular garment, this particular pattern caught my eye because it reminded me of pattern pieces. And if you can see, I've actually cut out some of the shapes that are in the artwork. And this is reminded me of actually a commercial pattern. And it is
absolutely beautiful.
It's part of his Meccano series. And the back is also, we always keep in mind, I like a simple, elegant design, but I also like to have a little bit of a catch to it.
Very nice. Now it has to be wearing with the black pants, or you have the pants matching this.
Well, I tend to wear a lot of black and white. Anyway, that's my, that's what I love to wear. But you could wear a great red pant with this. You could wear a denim with it. You could wear a mini skirt with it. It'll look fantastic, with heels.
What else are you doing in this design? Just a jacket or something else? Maybe a coat, maybe something else,
well,
maybe a hat, maybe... I
have to think about it. I don't have a lot left over because the runs are, they're fairly expensive, to have his artwork translated into a repeat that goes into a textile design. But I have some left over, and I'm trying to tell him to allow me to embellish. If he has a black denim jacket already made, I can embellish it with some of the patterns of this and make it really cool and trendy.
Interesting, because where it would be possible to buy it? Where? In what store?
Yeah, well, no, we're not going to sell through stores. This is a one-of-a-kind, so we are going to explore more of his artwork, making it into a fabric design. He also has a textile design background, but that was for a shorter period of time. But his work just translates beautifully. Even though it wasn't meant to be, it just translates fantastic into clothing.
I know. I was in his studio. He even gave me a present of few pieces.
Yes.
It's in my room, in my home, on the wall.
Good. So
Beautiful.
On the wall. Everybody asking, what is this? I said, this is great, they're great. Two great pieces, I love them,
What I would love to do is, we've done several pieces for some shows in the last 2 years, collaboration. And I'm thinking one of my ideas would be if a bride came to me, a bride-to-be, and wanted something really different, she could choose an original artwork we could have translated into satins or silks or whatever, and make an over-the-top wedding gown. Would be fabulous. Or an entertainer who would like to have something that's really different.
Absolutely.
This is trend. This is very trending. They're using more and more fine art and incorporating it into fashion. It's not going to stop. It's been coming on for years now, and you'll see a lot of it. Even now in Vogue and Bazaar, they were showing pieces that are very artistic.
Very artistic. You know, I saw one piece in your studio. This is this piece, or there was something else?
That was the other. That was
That's
about,
what I saw.
yeah,
That this was something else. What it was? It was a coat.
It was a coat. Exactly.
Yes, it's so beautiful. So what did you do with this coat?
It's
Maybe I can buy it.
It's in the studio.
It's in the studio on the mannequin. As a matter of fact, when people came by, you know, they stopped and they were very attracted to it.
I'm sorry, we have to go to the break. We will be right back. We're back in the studio, and we have to, it's a Margo show, and today we have two great artists. One is fashion designer Barbara, and another one is artist Frank. They both have the same name, Gavere, right? Okay. So Frank, Barbara, I want to ask you, where you meet this great guy?
Good stuff.
Young designer, young artist. We met through a mutual friend. We were both living in Manhattan. And, you know, I made him chase me hard.
She stopped once and I ran into
So
her.
it's a long story, right?
A very
Yes.
long
A
story.
long story.
But I could see the talent right from the beginning. He's extremely talented. He never has a moment where he doesn't have an idea. It's amazing. It's a gift. He's truly gifted. And so let's.
Frank, okay,
Yes.
tell us a little bit more about your paintings, about your art, and about your ideas.
Okay.
You said that you have a lot of ideas.
Yes, do we have some pictures? Will they come up? No. Okay.
You just tell us.
Okay.
We always have pictures later. We'll put pictures later.
I generally classify my paintings by
Yeah.
size, by scale. So there's small things, you know, which is like 9 by 12, 11 by 14, and then larger, 22 by 30, and then larger than that, which is could be 50 by 70, something around that size. And then by substrate, by that I mean what is the painting painted on. And I generally have 3 things I paint on. I paint on paper, and it's almost always artist paper, very good, high quality with linen or cotton content.
Mm-hmm.
I paint on canvas. Occasionally I paint on wood, but that's a little rarer thing. And then I paint, recently in the last 2 years, I've been painting again on cardboard.
On cardboard. I saw this on
Yes.
cardboard.
And recycled, the idea of using a recycled or repurposed cardboard box as a painting substrate.
Right.
Of course, it's not quite archival, it's not the right pH, it's a little too acidic, so we put some paint on it and stabilize it a bit. I think, well, so far they last very well, but time will tell. But it's a beautiful surface to paint on. The air gun likes it. I like the brown in addition to black, white, red,
This
and
is
the other
yours.
colors. Yes, there's a good example. Yes. This is a
Beautiful.
recent piece, and it's part of a series I call The Broken Fence, where I'm talking about my feeling about the border being broken.
So you have a lot of pieces in your studio.
A few hundred, yes.
Yeah, a few hundred.
Yeah,
So let's do something about this,
absolutely.
right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So any idea what to do?
Yes, we have some representation through Ann Navarro Gallery in Jersey City. And currently we have a show.
Oh, you
She
do-
has some pieces.
Yeah, you have.
And then we have a little show over at the Park Hamilton.
Park Hamilton condominium in Jersey City, which is curated by Ann Novato of Novato Gallery.
Yeah, it's Novada Gallery actually.
Yes.
I've
Yes.
heard about. Yeah, I met actually her. This is Novada Gallery.
Yes.
Okay, so you had solo exhibition in Novada Gallery. It's a solo exhibition.
No, she has a space that she puts work in, which is in a very nice apartment building, and it's in the foyer and the hallways. And so we have 29 pieces there. She has work in the gallery of mine. I was part of a group show, which closed like a month or two ago.
Yeah.
So she always has some work of mine.
But I think Novada is a separate gallery.
Yes.
Yes.
It's a separate gallery.
Yes.
Yeah, because I saw advertising about your solo exhibition.
Right.
It was a lot of people came in over there.
Not really a lot. It seemed that night, not unusual for our weather lately, which has been pretty unbelievable. The snow was falling and going sideways, and so it was mostly people who lived there. But we had about 30 people at that opening, and it was quite a bit of fun.
I was in this gallery. It's a beautiful gallery, beautiful.
Oh, yes.
It's a beautiful gallery. Actually, it's very close to Museum of Russian Art.
It is, as a matter of fact. And,
Yeah.
and I've been told by other people, but I also agree, that it's one of the finest spaces for contemporary art right now. Yes,
You had exhibition in Museum of Russian Art.
of course.
So you can you tell something about this?
Yes. I showed mostly paintings from a series I did on paper, which were smaller, so they were 11 by 14 and under. And then at the end, I was just starting to paint on cardboard, so I took some little pieces of cardboard, like 9 by 9, and I painted them. And then after I hung everything up very, neatly and straight, then I put pieces of the painted cardboard and stapled them to the wall. It was very fun.
That was
It was very
great.
fun.
It was great.
Yeah.
It was the best wall.
Yeah, it's
Like,
fun to, it's
I
fun
remember,
to do.
I remember that's the best wall from all the exhibition.
Well, I always think, how could you present something and then have a little fun with it at the end? Because,
Absolutely.
it's very serious.
Absolutely.
It's very serious.
Very smart.
Very serious.
Very
and then,
smart.
And then you want to play a little bit too, so that when they come and they see it, they don't forget it.
Yeah, because it was beautiful installation, I would say.
Yes.
Yeah.
Beautiful installation.
And
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll do it again sometime.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So I think you're also teaching something, right?
I'm retired.
You're retired?
I used to
You-
teach.
you
I
used to
used to teach
teach?
art to multiply handicapped kids.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So this is interesting. Why
Oh,
you
it's
retired? You're
wonderful.
so young.
Well, there are lots of reasons, but the basic
But this is
reason
another beautiful piece.
Oh, yes.
Tell us about this beautiful piece.
This piece is fun. It's a series called Canceled Plans. You know, architects make plans,
Uh-huh.
and then they cancel them. So I took red paint and a 4-inch brush, and I canceled. So I would do little kind of funny architectural, you know, layout kind of things, and then I would take big red X.
This is great. What this is? What is
Cancel
this?
plan.
This?
Yes, this is a piece on paper, and the paper was gessoed, and then so I paint with the air gun, and I paint these cylinders and columns, and they kind of look like drapery. That's how it feels to me. One of my favorite subjects. And then at the end, for some added color and excitement, I splatter it with red paint and white paint. Well, actually, it's white paint first, then red paint.
Nice.
Yes, I was trying to achieve high-speed splatter, something about 1,200 feet per second. Interesting look.
You remember this exhibition in Manhattan on 46th Street that we do very political?
Oh, yes.
Very political.
Yes.
For Ukraine. We did it for Ukraine.
For
I don't want to
Ukraine,
talk
yes.
about too much political here, but your piece was unbelievable. You still have this piece?
Yes, it's in my studio. I have two, actually there are two pieces. You know, originally I did it, and it was a painting and that I made from a drawing, and then I put it inside a painting, which was a grid, one of my grid paintings. And so what happened was I called you and I said, it's so many centimeters by so
We
many
have to go
centimeters.
to the break again. We'll be right back.
It was
Что происходит? Welcome to Margo Show. We have Frank Gavere, the artist, and Barbara Gavere. She's a fashion designer. Maybe you will tell us a little bit more about fashion industry now. What is it actually trend now?
Well, there's going to be, I look at the way the fashion trends are going now. It's very, I see opulence. I see lots of brocaded fabrics being used. I see beautiful silks being used, some beautiful floral motifs. Denim is always going to be, as you see, you have on a pair of, you know, distressed jeans, and that whole area is never going to end now. That's just been going on, and it keeps evolving. And it's great because who doesn't love denim? We all love it. You know, it is the fabric of life. It's just something we all are comfortable in. And we even take recycled denim and make vests for my husband, things like that. But overall, you know, the evening wear fabrics look fabulous. They're going from beautiful dusty pinks right into the most opulent, deep burgundies, gorgeous, velvets. So I'm looking, as I see it, it's just trending towards as the cooler weather comes after the summer. The summer's going to be light and airy,
Yeah.
and you'll see feathers on different things, but in the evening wear area. But it's basically going to head toward a more opulent look. And also some of the little trends from the 80s are going to come back, but in a more refined and sophisticated way, I think.
So what is the best color for this? What is the most, not interesting, but what you suggest, what color you suggest for the spring, actually? What color now going to be in fashion for the spring and summer?
I think pinks are going to be.
Pink. I
Pink is
love
going to be.
pink. I love pink.
Yeah.
What
All
about
different
hats?
shades.
Is hats is in fashion?
Hats are always in fashion. You know, some people are hat people and some people are not. But you see a lot of the big picture hats, you know, especially for sun hats, fun. And a lot of the women, they wear such interesting and very sophisticated bathing suits today, or non-bathing suits, you know, little tiny pieces that cover just the very necessary parts. But they have a tendency, you know, to sport a beautiful, you know, a wide-brimmed hat to shield them from the sun and to look very chic.
Okay. What are there any interesting fashion shows that's going on now? That
Well, we are FIT right now.
I believe our time is out. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. And we will be back next week.